Hi and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave and this is episode 1333A, and today's date is July 16th, 2017, and the title of the episode is "The Economic System Has Failed. The Fed Will Hide It All by Pushing Markets Higher." Now, before I get started, I just want to make an announcement. I uploaded an interview with Lynette Zhang on Saturday. It is on the X22 Report Spotlight YouTube channel. So if you go over to YouTube and you type in X22 Report Spotlight, it'll bring you to that video. Or you can view it on the X22Report.com site or the NewsSentinel.com site. Just scroll down a little bit, look over to your right-hand side. You'll see the video there. Or you can go to steamit.com. You can view the video there. And this is a must-watch video of Lynette. She breaks it down on what's going to happen to pension savings. She compares it to what happened when Russia collapsed. And this, I believe, is one of those things that you need to listen to understand what the central banks, what they're planning to do. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, as we've been tracking this economy over time, we've been noticing that the economy has been deteriorating. And I remember back in 2013, President Hollande, right during that false flag sarin gas attack, where he was talking to the French people saying that the economy is going to be doing much, much better. Unemployment is going to come way down. Everyone's going to have jobs. And we see this improving in 2014, getting better in 2015, and it's going to break out in 2016, 2017. Well, here we are in 2017, and we're not seeing this at all. Actually, we're starting to see many different areas within the European Union really start to break down. We've been looking at Greece over time, and we're seeing that youth unemployment, well, that is very, very high. I mean, we're talking about 30, 40%. And remember, the youth unemployment, that is the next generation. This is what they're counting on because they want these individuals to make money. They want these individuals to save. Then they can go out and purchase homes. They can go out and purchase cars. They can go to retail and purchase. But throughout the European countries, in Canada, in the US, and Australia, we're not actually seeing this happen. And out in Italy, what we're seeing is that there's a number of Italians. They are living in absolute poverty. And it has reached the highest level for more than 10 years. Now, this is coming from the Italian National Institute of Statistics, and they're looking at Italy, and they're saying, yeah, we have a major problem here. Now, according to the agency, the number of absolute poor rose from 4.7 million last year against an almost 1.7 million in 2006. So it is up by 3 million people. And this shows you that things are not improving there. And among the youth, this number is continually growing. Now remember, this is the generation that will define how the country does going forward. And we can see throughout the US, Canada, Australia, and all these different countries, the next generation, well, many of them cannot find jobs. Many have part-time jobs. Many have no jobs whatsoever. And they're not saving money. They're making less than they've ever done before. And they're not out there buying cars, buying homes, and spending in retail. So we have a major problem on our hand. And this is what it looks like when an entire system starts imploding on itself. Now, we talked about how retail is doing very, very poorly. We've talked about the restaurant industry. And when we start to look at the restaurant industry, well, we notice something very interesting. Well, we notice that same-store sales, well, that is dropping. Traffic is dropping. And what's very interesting is that a lot of these restaurants, they're continually hiring people. It's starting to slow quite a bit. And we have unemployment very, very low. But there is a disconnect that has emerged. Because when we look at restaurant retail sales, well, restaurant retail sales year on year, they have been declining. But the unemployment rate has continually gone down. And these same restaurants, they've been hiring people. Something doesn't make sense. But when we look at Bank of America's internal spending data, well, that actually reinforces what is happening here, that food and service and drink places, the revenue is continually declining. And it's showing us that there's a major problem. Now, actually, the restaurant industry is stuck in its longest slump since the Second Great Depression. U.S. consumer spending is continually declining in this area. So what do we see? We see that there are many individuals who have no job whatsoever. They've fallen off and the government just doesn't count them because they think, oh, they just don't want a job. Of course they do. Many people have a part-time job where that's considered a full-time job, so that's completely manipulated. And what we're looking at is that over time, wages have been declining. There are no jobs, and retail is imploding. The restaurant industry is imploding. There's 20 cities that are keeping the whole housing market up, but the rest of the housing market, that has been manipulated by hedge funds, investment company, foreign investors that come in and buy thousands and thousands of houses and rent them out, but keep them off the market. So it drives prices up. The banks were told the same thing. Listen, if you foreclose, keep that house on the market because it shows that there's no inventory, which drives prices up. And from everything that we've been looking at, we can see that this whole thing is one giant manipulation. Now, we could see that the central bankers, the powers that be, they are in a rush right now to decash. They want everyone using no cash whatsoever. Now, remember, having cash, no cash, this is not the issue. The issue is who's controlling this. Because if you think about this, the central bankers, they want an electronic economy, but they're going to be in control of it. I have no problem with an electronic economy. It makes things a lot easier. But it has to be decentralized. There can be not one entity controlling it. And this is where we have the problem. This is the bigger issue. It's not, oh, they're taking away cash, they're doing things like that. It's that the central bank wants to bring us into this electronic currency and they want to control the whole thing. So, like we said before, Visa, well, they are looking at different vendors and saying, listen, we're going to make offers to you. We're going to say, listen, do not accept cash. Now, they're doing this to one of the places, one of the industries where they take on a lot of cash. And it's not department stores. It's not little retail stores. We know online does not take cash. It's the restaurants, the cafes, the food trucks. They're challenging these entities to stop accepting cash. And they announced this by offering $500,000 to 50 eligible U.S.-based eateries to go 100% cashless. This is the push to get all these companies to accept electronic only, because the clock right now is ticking down. They know they only have a certain period of time to go completely cashless, because the central banks, their plan is to control everything. Now remember, when the economy comes down, they're going to be ushering in a new system. This new system, and if you listen to Lynette Zhang, she's talking about a higher level monetary system where governments, corporations will use this to trade. And then for the people, they're looking at some type of electronic type of currency. She's calling it a dollar coin. Now, again, cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, very good. But we don't want the central bank controlling this. This is the big deal. And they know that time is running out. This is why they are pushing so hard right now. It's not about op-eds or talk right now. These credit card companies, the banking system, they are pushing this because they realize now is the time. Because when this system comes down, this is the reset. This is how they're going to proceed. At least this is what they want to do. Now, we know that this economy is completely fake, phony, and false, because we've been looking at all the numbers and we see how they manipulate. And what we come to find is that Illinois, well, they manipulated everything. How did they do it? How did they make it seem like everything was fine and they told the people everything was fine? One way that Illinois managed to fix its budget crisis, which they like to call kicking the can down the road, what they did was they manipulated the numbers. So how did they do it? Well, they simply decided to continue modeling future returns at a much higher rate than they'll ever be able to reasonably achieve. Now, of course, they said, listen, we're going to be doing about 7%, 7.5%. And they managed to reduce the present value of future liabilities and thus reduce current funding requirements. In short, they tweaked one simple number, and like magic, your whole funding crisis completely disappears. And now they've been caught, because now the system is imploding. The pension system is so underfunded that no one's going to get their pensions. Chicago's pension funds, along with several other large public pensions around the country, are in serious trouble. And this is how they did it. Now, of course, during this period of time, they were telling everyone it was okay. And they showed the numbers. See, everything's fine. We told you. And what they did was they manipulated. What do you think they're doing in this economy? The same exact thing. Now, the Fed, they're out there. They have a trading desk. They're able to manipulate the stock market. They're able to manipulate the precious metals market. The government helps along with manipulating all the statistics in the country. GDP, unemployment, all these departments, they manipulate by shifting the numbers. They make everyone believe, and the corporate media is out there, of course, saying how great things are. Look, the unemployment's down. GDP, this is the new normal. Retail sales, everything's moving to online. They create this illusion and make you believe. Now, Ron Paul is out there saying, listen, this is when we know we have a problem. When the central bank comes out and they tell you something that we're not going to see any type of disaster or any type of financial crisis in our lifetime, this is when you need to worry. He says, this actually scares me because central bankers are always wrong. Now, I need to correct them a little bit here. What they do is they lie to make you believe, just like the banks in Spain. When they told the, mom and pop retailers, don't worry, your money's going to be safe. In the meantime, the corporations, the insiders, they were draining their accounts because they knew what was coming. And all those other people thought, oh, everything's going to be fine. I can just leave my money there. Everything will be okay. And what happened was they got screwed and the other people got out. This is how it works. And what we're seeing right now is these central bankers are going to try to push the market up even further. Why? To keep the illusion alive. And while everyone is staring at that, they're making preparations behind the scenes. They're getting ready for the reset. And they don't care if you lose all your wealth. Who cares? We're going for a reset. It makes no difference. But the insiders, they're going to make as much as they possibly can because remember, they're the insiders. And when we go through this reset, they're going to become even wealthier. And everyone else is going to get poorer. That's what normally happens. Because if you look at what happened in Russia in 1998, many of the people lost their pensions. Many of the people lost their savings. They saw hyperinflation. And we're going to see the same exact thing. Because there's going to be a transition period as we go through this. Because they need to take the old system, devalue it, and bring on the new system. And they're not going to give you a 1-to-1 ratio here. And we could see how this is all being played out right now. And we are definitely heading towards that period of time. And this is why you need to be ready financially. You need to be ready with food and water, because if you look at what happened in 1998 with Russia as it collapsed, the shelves were completely empty. Remember, the credit impulse, the credit market right now, it's freezing up. And once it totally freezes up, all deliveries, everything that we see right now comes to a halt. We don't have trade anymore during this period. Because remember, everything was based on the petrodollar. Now we're going to have to trade goods. What do we have here? Not much. This is why Trump has been trying to bring back manufacturing. This needs to be brought back to help the country after the transition. So during this transition period, this is the part where you're going to be need to be prepared for this time period. How long will it be? Some people say 6 months, some people say 4 years, some people say 2 years. We don't know. So you're going to need your food, your water, because you don't want to be running to the market like everyone else trying to get these supplies. You need gold and silver. This is a store of wealth. This will help you because the dollar, yes, you need to hold them in the beginning, but as they continually devalue, they'll become worthless pieces of paper. And when we move on to a new system, whatever that's going to be, hopefully we can get rid of the central bank at this point in time. We can make sure that they're not controlling the next system, because that would be a better thing for the people around the world, where we're in control of the monetary system, not a central bank, which is private and their agenda is completely different than what it is for the people. So you need to be ready and prepared for this, because they're going to start telling you all these different things. We're already starting to see it happen with Visa making deals with all these vendors, because they are preparing for what is coming. So you need to be prepared. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.